Hello everyone, it's Don here, up with a new update on progress reports for the airplane and my medical problem with my vertigo. So I'll go into the medical problem first, try to keep it short. But first off, I want to thank everybody for their well wishes and the hopes, the prayers, and the get well better things, comments. Appreciate that, and thank you. So I ended up sorry, that damn flu still got in my chest. I ended up going to the ear, nose, and throat specialist on Monday, and it was pretty much fruitless. I didn't really get anything out of it other than her asking me a series of questions about, how it all started and everything, and how long it's been going on, what's been done, and what the hospitals and all that. She'd gotten, for the most part, most of the information from the different hospital, the VA hospital and the St. Vincent's from Erie. But in the long run, it turned out that one of the emergency center had given me, the St. Vincent's emergency room, had given me a couple of prescriptions. One was for dizziness, and the other one was for blood pressure. Well, the dizziness pills have an effect on the tests that the ear, nose, and throat can do. So she wasn't able to do any of those tests there that day, or you have to be off the medication for 24 or 48 hours before this test can go, because it'll affect the results of the test. So I just stopped taking them since maybe Wednesday, because they don't seem to do anything anyway. I was taking one in the morning with my blood pressure, and then I got the couple another prescriptions from the VA for a possible infection, but it turns out that that's not the case. All she really did was she looked in my ears, looked in my throat, just a general, opening the mouth, say ah, and looked around and checked my ears. My left ear had some wax in it, so she went in and cleaned that out real quick just to get a better look at the ear. Said the right one was fine. But needless to say, didn't get anything out of that. She said there's 3 potential problems. One of them is Meniere's disease, I believe. And that's the one that you can control with medication or help control it, but you can't get rid of it. They don't know what causes it. And then the other 2 cases are, it can just go away on its own. And I said, well, how long can that take? She goes, could take up to 2.5 months. I was like, okay, that's nice. And then the third one is more serious stuff, but we won't know. But I got a scheduled appointment for Monday, again, a week later. And they're going to do, they have 3 separate tests. And all 3 of them involve getting a headphones on, and it sends in tones, pulses, and noises and such, and with that they can kind of pinpoint what might be the problem. So the first 2 tests are 20 minutes each, and the third test can take up to an hour. But for the most part, all you do is just sit there or lay there while this test is going on. I don't know that they have you do anything, turn over, I don't know. She didn't go into details on the test, so that's scheduled for Monday. So I won't know anything until Monday, and then if they get anything definitive out of it, I'll come out here, and I'm still going to try and tinker around out here with what little I can do. But I still have the vertigo. It's still 24/7. It's not stopped, but I'm getting better at walking. My body's kind of getting used to the vertigo, and I can walk fairly good. Going up and down stairs, most of the time I find myself leaning against the wall, holding onto the railing, sliding up and down the stairs in my house. So I've been able to go out and walk the dog in the morning. We go out for about 15 to 20 minutes. And with him pulling the leash actually helps stabilize my walking until he pulls off to the side. And then it just throws you in a loop. But when I walk, I generally have to look at the ground in front of me, basically where the dog is, because the movement at that range is so short. But if I go out into the distance in the horizon and try walking, then my head's like this, the whole time. You can't see, you can't focus on anything in the distance. You can't tell a person from a car from a mailbox. Everything's just like this when you're walking. It's just so extreme on the distance, and then up close it's not so bad. So, all right, enough of that. So what I did do, this was my original idea of a motor mounts bolted to the engine with the alternator mounted here. But my original, this was designed with a smaller alternator that was one of those permanent magnet ones I was trying to get a jump start on, but it didn't fit anything, so I got rid of that. And then the next mode was I ordered a new alternator, and that came in Friday, I believe. Yeah, no, yesterday, Friday, Saturday, what was it? No, Thursday or Friday it showed up. It got here early, and it was delivered by Amazon, came out of Texas. So with the new measurements for the spacing here, you can see the spacing to that spacing, the difference. So it's a smaller diameter, but it's really no smaller than the stock one, but it has better mounting tabs on it. So I made this so it pivots here and just enough over here to kind of tighten the belt, get a belt that'll fit it, be hard to put on, and then you have just a little room to tension it. So when I cut this one out, this bolt here needed to be farther over, so I couldn't even put this one in. I had to pull the stud out just to bolt this up. But it worked fine, but the alternator only sat up here. It wouldn't come down because when the alternator swung down, this hit the body. And in order to clear it, you'd have to cut off, like that much. So you lift it up, you'd literally pull the bolt right out of the hole. So that wasn't going to work. This alternator is meant to be anchored with 2 points, and it's meant to have a belt tensioner. So took that one out. And then also, this one you can see the mounts are where the actual rubber mounts are going to go. This stuff all lines up. So then, after doing that one, not working, I redesigned this one. And as you can see, this one, I moved the mounts out another 1/2 inch. So these are 7-inch, these are 8-inch. And I was trying to bring it down a little more because without making this belt tension and adjustability off the alternator, I figured I could lower this down, but these were going to be in the way. So you can see the difference of where these used to be. It used to be there, now it's out to there. But everything else is still pretty much the same. These are identical, and all three of these are completely different. Then I had to recess out here because of the crank sensor sets right here. It wouldn't clear. So when I made this one, I bumped it up a little more, but it still hit. And you can see my little pencil drawings there of kind of what I needed to do. But this one fit great. The alternator bolted right in there perfect. This bolted up to the motor perfect. Everything's great. These are wider out, so it's get a little better stability. So that was 1, 2, 3, and I got the fourth one on the airplane right now. Stagger over here. And there's my new alternator. It's, like I said, it's from a 01 to 05, like GMC Jimmy, Chevy S10 trucks. It's a 100 amp alternator, and it's nice, but it weighs pretty much the same as the stock one. But it is a more compact unit. It's not as bulky than the two bolt mounts. But with this one, these lugs right here, there's 4 of them where the bolt bolted all together. That was hitting the mount after I shortened this up too. This was down farther. So I incorporated that into the drawing and notched it out, as you can possibly see how that's notched down there. But so that's notched out. And after cutting this one out, it wasn't big enough, so I had to kind of get in there and grind on it with my little die grinder to make it work. Get this. I can probably just leave it on for now. This is the belt that I originally had on there. You can see how much that thing has to be pushed in to tension it. So I'll need a physically shorter belt. And of course, you can see this thing, it still flexes just pulling on that belt. But that's only a 1/4 inch piece of plywood right here. And then I've got 2 washers in there to simulate it being 3/8 of an inch thick. And the belt alignment on this thing is absolutely perfect. It's beautiful. This new alternator has 6 ribs, and the old one is a 5 rib, so it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt nothing. But it's in perfect alignment. But then also when I noticed, come on, when I was looking at this distance from here to here, it's smaller than the distance from here to here. From the crank pulley to the firewall is like 1 3/4. This is closer to 1 5/8, 1.5. So I'm like, so I grabbed my protractor, for old propeller protractor, warp drive protractor, one of these, Put it on the firewall, zeroed it, found a good spot on the firewall, make sure I was true, zeroed it, and then I come out here and put it on the propeller spinner, and then it was off. So I changed it till it was at 12 degrees on the firewall, and it's 14 degrees on this. So what that's telling me is the motor is tipped up 2 degrees. So it must have been something when I made the mount that it was just off that little bit. So I can correct that. As you can see, I got the carburetor in the center section of the intake manifold sitting on a piece of 3/4 inch board. Just give me enough clearance to clear this oil feed line to the gearbox. So now the tubes are going to come out of here and go into the intake manifold here. We can have the tubes. So I got a nice clean shot through there. And again, a nice clean shot through here. And then the water's got to come out of here, go into here. Now, I mentioned last time that when I was looking this system over, it turns out that when the thermostat is down here on the inlet of the water pump, it's the temperature part of it's in water all the time. But the thermostat has to open to let water, cooling water, in from the radiators. So you can see, this was the heater hose circuit. This had a 90-degree elbow on it, brought up a hard line up to here, and it came out here. And then this had an aluminum casting that went from this side to that side, and it had your outlet that went to the top of the radiator. And then there was another metal line coming out here, so you had 2 metal lines here that fed through the heating core in the car for cabin heat. So the water would circulate through there. Well, with the way I had this wire plumbed up, I took that crossover out and I just run this to this side, that to that side, and then they come together down over there and come into here. So the right side crossed over from this tube, joined this tube, and got sucked in. Well, the problem with that is when the water was circulating, the header tank was over there that came down to this tube here. And so what happened was, when the thermostat is closed, the water just kind of circulates through the heater core, through the block, and then just circulates around in here through this thermostat housing. It's open above this because the thermostat's below it. So it just circulates. But the problem was it was only circulating this side of the motor, that side, the left side. Only the water was circulating around the left side. There's water in here, but there was no way for it to cross over to there to join the heating circuit. So what happens is this side of the motor can potentially get hotter than the other side before that thermostat ever opens. Once the water temperature heats up, comes all the way around to here to open, it was only basically, you got a little bit of cooling effect out of the heater core. So the stock manifold crisscrossed over, tied them together so the water could come out of both sides, go through the heater core, back in. Well, mine would only go out one side, back over here, so it wasn't utilizing both sides. So now I'm rethinking tying this one back into this one, and then this will go back into here, but I'm going to upsize it from 1 inch to 1.25 inches. So I'll change the hose out, and it'll come down in, it'll enter in through the bottom. Right now, the bottom hose is here. You can just barely make it out in here. Right there's the bottom hose. And it comes out here. The top hose runs along and goes into the top of the radiator. So the water would circulate through the top, go into the top, go out the bottom. So what I want to do now is tie these together. I can use 1 inch crossover here because this is essentially just 1 inch. To bring over to here, and then from here to here, I'm going to step up to 1.25 inches. So I need to make a new fitting here and change it out, and then change the hose out. May put in some hard lines, some aluminum hard tubing in there, but it's going to come down and it's going to go into this bottom hose, because this comes right out the bottom of the wing. Pull this out, and the hose will go in from the intake into the bottom, because you want the water to flow through the low point and go out the high spot. And in the high spot, I will run a hard line, piece of hard tubing. When I say hard line, I mean a solid piece of aluminum tubing, through the fuselage box, right here, right in front of the spar, essentially. I can run, come on, hanging up on this stuff. We got on the other side, folks, where I can stand on this box. But those radiators are essentially right straight outside of here, so I can put a hole in the fuselage here, run a hard line across the floor, go out this side. So we'll go in on the low side, come out the high side, and we'll do the same thing. Come in, we'll go in on the low side, come out the high side, and the high side is pretty much right in line with the original one. So what will happen is it'll eliminate this upper hose, take that out, have one line in here, one line out there, which is the crossover, and then back, and then this will be gone too. So that'll be gone, and then upper right one over there as you're sitting in the plane will be gone. So that'll take out some more complexity of the system. But because I'm tying them together, I need to upsize the hose to get more flow through there, because these two radiators will be in series now. So that's kind of the idea. And then also with this, now you can see where I got one of the little rubber mounts sitting on there. Let me grab this light. So I got these mounts. They're like I said, ½ inch wider than before, 1 inch total side to side. But there'll be a mount from here to here. This will be, I'm going to actually move the engine 2½ inches. So this is going to be basically clear up here about where this bolt is now. So this will be all the way up here. So the motor mount will come from there to here, which will be up here. And then another one bar goes from the back of this also, and it'll come down to this one. And then there'll be this bar here will come up and over to the mounts that'll be in the bottom. So you got one going up there, one going here, a diagonal going from top to bottom, and then there will be another X brace underneath, just like it has now. But it'll be tucked up in. Oh, careful, fall over. So this X brace will be tucked up in back farther, and all this will be behind the engine now. So it'll be clear back up here. Get in there. So there'll be a good 4 inches between these pulleys and the firewall. So that's kind of what I'm looking at now. Oh, yeah, getting up, bending over, really triggers the head. So this is the crank sensor, and I had a problem with this lug clearing on when I made this one, but I just ground out that plywood a little bit, and I've already made the adjustment into print, so when I go to cut one out of aluminum, it'll be great. Again, this is only 1/4 inch plywood, and I got 1/8 inches of washers, 1/8 inch of washers in here. So the alternator, oh, and also this alternator, this lug came all the way back to here. So I had to cut off 3/8 of an inch off the back of these lugs, which made it, look like it was factory. It was done that way. And to do that, all I did was took my lathe here, I chucked up the pulley in here, brought the live tailstock spindle in, and took the cover off the back of that and had access to the shaft. And that was just to hold it in place, just hold there. This wasn't turned on or nothing. And then I could spin that outer housing around, and I lined this up with the side of the thing, and then I moved this over 3/8 of an inch, and while I was holding this, just rocking it back and forth by hand, I just feed this in and was able to make perfect cuts on that, and then pull this back out, roll it over to the next one, go in and do it. And then I moved this, crank it a little bit, cut it, crank it a little bit, so that worked real good. I just run this up in there, squared it off to the face of the chuck, and it did a perfect job. Let's see, where are the, I did save those. Oh, here they are, right here. Those are the little pieces I cut off. So that did a beautiful job. Looked like it came from the factory. So if I ever have a problem with that alternator, I have to buy a new one. You got to remember to cut those off. So it shouldn't be a problem. So a smaller belt, and then to tighten this belt, I'm probably going to make some kind of a swing arm, or probably off of one of these bolts. It would have to be on this side because the motor spins up and over that way. So actually no, it'd have to be on the other side. Yeah, this motor spins that way. Yeah, because you want to tighten it from this side. You either pull it out or push it in to tighten it, because the pulling side wants to pull straight. If you put the tensioner on the other side, it's going to try and pull on that tensioner all the time. So when that other side is straight, it'll pull on the alternator. So to get, like I said, my belt's going to be a lot shorter, so it's not going to be, it's only going to have a little bit of, and then I'll just put probably an outside pulley on it to push this in. So that's kind of where I'm at today. Like I say, I can get around a little better walking. Body's getting a little accustomed to it, but any sudden movements, bending over and turning your head is what really sets it off the worst. Just turning the body, it's not so bad, but turning the head, that's another story. Up, down, left, right. You only have to move it just a hair for it to remind you that you're still messed up. So, but I wanted to go ahead and just make hopefully a quick video to see what you guys think. And again, these mounts will be another one on the back, and then there's another 1/2-inch block that'll come around, and it'll get bolted. Everything will be bolted together like a sandwich. So this whole thing will be 1.5 inches thick when it's done. So it's going to go from this mount, probably about 1/8 of an inch into this rubber mount, to the 1/8 inch on the other one, and then a bolt goes through everything into a new mount. It'll be not like not quite like this. There'll be a tube with a big washer on it that this will set against. The bolt will go through and goes through the tube, and then all this tubing gets welded to that tube and up to the corners. So, and this motor is in the exact center of the firewall. So when I go to weld up a new frame, I've already went into the computer CAD drawing, and I made a drawing up to go to measure from here to here, with these diagonals. But I can't draw 3D on my CAD. It's only a 2.5. I can change drawings for the heights of things, but it's called 2.5 CAD, 2.5, because it's two-dimensional with some Z. But I can't tie any Z's together. One drawing, like from this part to that part, would be the Z height, because this would be the floor, like this, and everything's measured up from that. But if you think about it, from this center point to this center point, you have a distance. If this was to go right back to the firewall, you have a distance of A. Then you have a distance of B from here to here. That gives you two sides of the triangle to figure out the third side, which is the hypotenuse. So I'm able to get a general measurement from here to here just by doing the triangulation of the two short sides of a 90-degree angle. So going off the firewall, you're coming over a set number, and you're coming straight out to this, where you want to attach the attachment point be back here. So going from here to here, again, this will be 2.5 inches more. I was able to triangulate roughly how long this tube needs to be, and it also gives me an angle here of where to cut them once I figure out the lengths. So I did that leg, and then the leg that goes from there to the bottom, and then from the bottom to the bottom mount. I've got all three of those. We have 1, 2, 3, and then even the diagonals. So I was able to draw them all up. It's like looking at this one here. You go from here to here to here, then you can figure out the length of this if you know these two lengths. So that's basically all I did, is just come across the firewall. So I was able to, and because I needed to figure out how much tubing I got to order, and it's under 8 feet. I need 92 inches, being close on memory, so 8 feet will work. And if I have them cut it in half, ship it as a 4-footer, 2 4-footers, it'll be cheaper on shipping, and just because of the length thing. Once you get up to a certain length, it's got to go by truck freight, and then you're talking a lot more money. So they always ask if you can cut it down to make it go into smaller boxes. So cutting in half, I can get all 3 pieces out of it, plus the 2 diagonals for the X brace on the bottom. So it'll be a pretty simple mount to make. I'll make up a jig. I'll make up a jig on a board, flat board, and another board to represent this with the hole locations, everything center line. I'll have them bolted together with some dowel rods, all threaded rod or something to hold them separate, and I can cut and fit the pieces right there on the bench. And then bring it over, just kind of tack it together, bring it over, make it fit in here, and then tack it some more, and then pull it off, weld it all up, and then we're off to the races. So, all right, I think that's going to do her. Get inside, and then once this is all moved out, the oil tank, I'll have over 4 inches of clearance from the pulley to here, so I can put the tank in there literally anywhere along that firewall. I'll have plenty of space to put in there. So, and then once that's done, I can finish the muffler, get that in. But right now, feeling is wobbly. I've got that all pretty much figured out, and then that tube's going to have hot water in it, so I'll wrap it with some foam pipe insulation like you buy for your house for your hot water lines. And then I can also put a sheet of tin off the top of the spar and wrap it over it to try to hold the heat down out of the way. Otherwise it's just going to add heat, because right now these hoses are out here in this opening, but they can still radiate heat through that box. And this thing was warm while you were flying because of that cooling. If that water line wasn't in there, it might be a little cooler, but again, I had to open up my cowling to let some more basically engine compartment heat out, not necessarily coolant, water coolant, but just releasing engine heat out of there. So, because some of that is probably soaking through the firewall as well. Nothing else on the tail wheel at this time. I did find some cables that I can buy to build up that system with, heavier 3/32 cable. So I'm on 4th rendition of that alternator mount, motor mount. So I like this new one being wider. It's an 8-inch, so that's a little better. The bottom will still end up being about 7 inches because I can't go any wider. There's the water thermostat housing here, and then there's the oil filter right here. I'm stuck with that dimension on the bottom. So, all right, everyone. Again, I'm gonna trip over my damn tire changer. I still haven't got my brakes done on the car. There's no sense trying to work on it because even if I get them changed, I can't drive. I can barely stand up at times, especially after walking the dog and such. Just riding in the car is a challenge. It's not fun. Alright, I think that's going to do her for this little update. I'll hear more on Monday, and hopefully they'll have some preliminary results at the very least to enlighten me with. If not, I may have to wait a few days before I hear back for the test results. But I'll let you know how it's gone, and I'll try to do another video maybe by 2. Well, I can do it any day now because I can't go out and work. I'm still unable to work in the last 2 weeks. I can't drive. So I think that's it. Alright, I'm going to cut her off now, and we will get you guys up to date on the next one. If I get any news from the test results, I'll post something. I'll do a video. But if I don't, it might be the end of the week before I come out here and have something new to talk about on the plane. But if you don't hear anything after Monday or Tuesday about my test results, it's because I don't know what they are yet. If I do hear something, I'll try and get a video done before Monday night or Tuesday night. Monday night, if I do anything, well, I'm still going to be out here tinkering tomorrow and Monday, so I might have something more to report on here. So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for now. As always, I appreciate everyone taking their time to watch my videos. Feel free to leave me any comments, questions, concerns, and I answer them as they come along. Again, if you're not familiar with my responses on YouTube, if I feel there's a question I can answer, I'd like to answer, I'll answer. If I don't answer anything, I always leave a like on the video, so you know that if there's only one like on your video comment, it's mine saying that I've pretty much looked at it. So that's just to let you know I read your comments. So, and this one had a lot of comments just for being the last one, for being this Vertigo problem. So again, thanks everyone for the kind thoughts and prayers, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So for now, this is Dino Don out.